somebody comes along to break my thumbs for not making payments, that wasn't my choice. I mean, you're saying that my choice is to make those payments or get my ass kicked. And in your theology, my choice is to accept something that my brain can't possibly accept because it's irrational and without evidence, and then go the step further of becoming worshipful and adherent to this fantasy. Well, I won't do it because I see what happens when people do become worshipful and adherent to that fantasy. Even if I could convince myself to go ahead and accept the delusion, it is harmful and it is immoral, and your theology is immoral. And what you're saying about there being a literal hell and that God gets to wash his hands of it's all completely immoral. You have lost your own sense of dignity, self-respect, humanity, and morality.
I loved how you laid out the logical chain connecting God with responsibility for people going to hell, and she goes, "That's fucked up."
Yeah. Well, she didn't say. She wouldn't say that.
Oh, right. That's messed up. She said.
All right. So now
and
we had 3 F-bombs.
It sure is messed up, ma'am. And yet, it wasn't Matt's chain of logic that was messed up. It was the fact that you're in a religion where that chain of logic can easily be drawn, and you just avoid it.
I'm surprised she didn't come down with the vapors.
Amazing.
I'm sorry that I offended your Victorian sense of morality or immorality, but some of us live in the real world and aren't afraid of a couple words on occasion. However, if Denise wants to call back, I promise I won't drop another F-bomb while telling her what an idiot she's being about her thinking on these subjects. And that doesn't mean I think she's stupid across the board. That we've had lots of discussions about this, don't be a dick type thing. But when I say that somebody's stupid, guess what? I'm stupid. Jeff's stupid. The people in the audience is stupid. We are all stupid at some time about something. Yeah. The difference is that some of us, when we have this pointed out to us or when we recognize it in ourselves, strive to overcome it. We say, you know what? I was being stupid. Let's correct that so that I'm not stupid about other things. And other people say, I'm not stupid. They deny. It's this massive ego that prevents them from accepting that they too can be wrong, that they too can make stupid mistakes. And that is what makes they take offense to this. Oh, you called me stupid. Yeah, I did. Get over it. Call me stupid back. We've both been stupid about something. When you have that sort of reaction to somebody telling you that your beliefs on a certain subject are stupid or that you're being an idiot about something in particular, first of all, they're most likely not summing up your entire character. They're most likely not saying you are a complete useless brain that can't do anything right. They are talking within the context of that subject. If your initial reaction is to simply take offense and shut down the conversation, that's ego. It's not logic. You didn't win. You don't have any high ground, intellectual, moral, or otherwise. It's ego. It is your own inner self saying, I couldn't possibly be wrong. How dare you challenge me? And it's no different than making up nonsense crap about somebody using the F word or whatever. It's a way of avoiding the actual discussion. It's a way of avoiding the intellectual honesty that goes where the logic leads instead of saying, that's messed up once you've been proven wrong. It really is that simple.
I hope we're going to get more of these people from that Facebook page that got challenged to call into the show. And I hope the rest of them will be maybe, not a little tipsy when they call.
Yeah. But Kevin in Lincoln, UK, how are you?
Hi, how's it going?
Good. Cheers.
Sorry about the tipsy comment. I've had a few beers, so I might be a bit tipsy.
All right.
Right, well, I love the show. The last call was hilarious, by the way.
Thank you.
And
thank you, Denise.
What's your opinion on in the God We Trust on your money?
I think it should be removed, but I don't think it's ever likely to be removed.
Well, I was just wondering, what's the point in arguing, trying to get that removed? Because in the UK we have God Save the Queen as our.
You're also not a secular nation.
I know we're not a secular nation.
We are.
Oh, wait a second. Are we? What?
Well, you are becoming more, but you have an official organized church as your state church. And so there's not necessarily a conflict there, whereas we live in a nation that was founded on secular principles, and about 60 years ago or so, some people decided that they wanted to inject God in everything. In God We Trust was not always on the money. This happened in 1954 when it became the official motto and was then added to all the paper money in 1956. It had occurred on some money along with a lot of other potential mottos. But the reason we're objecting to it is because this is a change. It is a particularly insidious change because it goes unnoticed. I have literally had people tell me that their proof that this is a Christian nation is that in God we trust is on the money. And it demonstrates that not only do they not know how this came about, they don't understand why it was wrong in the first place. So in your case, you don't really have any grounds to say, get God save the Queen off the money. And you guys are a lot more laid back about it in general. In our case, we used to have it the right way, and now we have it wrong because of some reactionary extremists who took over amidst some very, very silent non-theists. But it's not the sort of issue that I tend to fight a lot. I mean, it's not like I'm saying we should go out and have court cases all the time, because quite frankly, I don't care what they print on there. It's irrelevant to the point. But it's something that I think you object to on principle, but you don't necessarily go have a court case every day about it.
All right. Maybe in that case, then, you should try and make America become a Christian nation, because the UK is definitely a lot more atheistic than your country. And,
I do have a personal theory that that the way to tame religion is to make it a state institution, because that appears to be what an argument can be made that that's what happened in Europe and the UK.
And lots of people have made that argument that it stifles competition. That we have fostered a society in which religion is free to compete with other religions,
and where they have to work hard if they're going to make money, and so they do, and that's the problem. And competing religions, ones that don't get state support, are not able to compete because they don't get the free money from the state. So, arguably, that is could be a better way to do things. It's just it's very distasteful for us over here, to contemplate doing that out of just a purely practical
it may be
goal, knowing that we're not supposed to be a religious government.
It may be go ahead.
Yes. It could be quite funny, like watching the fundies get their way and have America become officially a Christian nation, to shoot themselves in the foot and end up more atheists and non-believers throughout the whole country.
Yeah, they sure wouldn't be supported by the Republicans over here anymore. They'd be saying, "Hey, that's a wasteful government expense."
It may turn out to be a very effective way of getting rid of religion, but it's not the way that I'd want to go, because it's wrong.
Yeah.
It may be a very effective way to cure athlete's foot by taking a scythe and cutting off your foot, but it's not what I would consider to be the preferred solution. A little Blackadder reference for you, just in case.
Okay.
Oh, good old Blackadder. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kevin.
Been great, John. Bye.
Bye-bye. There's an episode of Blackadder where they're talking about someone who is particularly clever, and somebody says, be careful getting that many good ideas, your foot might fall off. Does that happen? Yeah, well, yeah, I had a cousin who had the bright idea of cutting his toenails with a scythe, and his foot fell off. So. All right, we've got, is it Tan in Atlanta or Tan?
Yeah, it's Tan.
Hey, Tan.
Hey, recently I was watching Science Channel, and a show called Through the Wormhole with Morgan Freeman was coming on. Have you guys ever seen that?
I haven't watched it yet, but a lot of people have told me about it.
Yes, I was watching it, and the first episode was about if there's a creator of the universe or not. And a guy named Professor Michael Persinger from Laurentian University, he created something called the God Helmet.
Yeah.
And what it is, it's a helmet, and then it delivers like electromagnetic signals to different parts of your brain.
Yep.
And it activates supposed parts that create a divine experience for you. And up to 80% of people that took it, even atheists and religious people both, they both said they saw some sort of outside presence, like a god or a demon or something divine near them, even though they're atheists or religious.
Right. It provokes an experience that is ubiquitously labeled with this sort of religious language. Yeah.
Yeah, and he also said that maybe someone like Christ or Muhammad, this could be also the experience could also be created through maybe a lightning storm or maybe use of drugs or psychedelics or something like that. So I thought that was pretty cool to share that.
And there's been speculation that people who've had religious visions suffer from things like temporal lobe epilepsy. And also, like V.S. Ramachandran, who probably one of those brilliant people who's ever walked the earth, has done studies with people with split brain phenomena, where the corpus callosum has been separated. I believe I might have got the term wrong. But anyway, you end up with two separate personalities, and they can actually communicate with both of them because only one of them can actually use speech. The other one is going to control an arm. And so you can communicate with both of these two halves of one person's brain that have individual personalities that will answer questions in different ways, including in one case where one side of the brain said it believed in a God and the other side of the brain said it didn't believe in a God. And while this is the sort of thing that he has said, and I completely agree, should have sent shockwaves through the religious community, it's gone largely ignored and unnoticed. And the fact of the matter is...
That makes sense. And about that study, I'm taking psychology in school right now, and we were learning about that study, and what happened was when they split the brain, they showed an image to one side of the screen and another side of the screen, and then when they showed it to the right side, the person could not, he knew what it was, but he couldn't, like, verbalize it. And the same thing happened with this God helmet, because they sent pulses to the right side of the brain, and the left side of the brain had to interpret it, and the first thing they could come up with was it was divine.
Yeah, and they did something similar on an episode of House in season 5. The big thing is that when we talk about both religious experience and when we talk about things like the soul, all the attributes that we would normally attribute to a soul or religious experience can be identified through normal brain activity, with a handful of exceptions. And those exceptions tend to fall in the category where nothing real, no real phenomena has been demonstrated. For example, people will say the soul is the thing the part of us that persists after we die. Well, obviously there's no reason to think that that even occurs. That's just, something that somebody's posited and glommed onto it. When you talk about personality and preferences and beliefs and passions and all these things, they're identifiable in the brain. And by studying people with abnormal brains, we're getting better and better at identifying them. And the fact that we don't understand everything about the brain seems to leave open some room for mystery that religious people still want to work in. But what I find fascinating is they don't need to. They just ignore.
Right.
They ignore what we find out about the brain and say, nope, that's the soul. Nope, that's the soul.
Yeah, I've dealt with many people like that. Yeah, you guys are really helped me out and stuff with even talking to religious people, because I used to get real angry and stuff, but then now I'm just like, I'll let it go because there's no changing people like that,
Well, don't give up. I mean, Matt and I both used to be theists. So there is changing people like that. It just, you don't know that in any particular argument that you're dealing with somebody who's going to be able to understand your arguments.
And there are people who...
There may be people that won't ever change their mind, but you don't know which ones they are.
Yeah.
And,
that's true.
But anyway, the point is, we atheists have a valid point of view, and we shouldn't just shut up about it because we're not going to be able to change the opinions of the believers either. I mean, we're all entitled to not only have our own opinions, but to say what they are.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
One last thing is that there are people who have called into the show 4 or 5 years ago during, my first year or two on the show, who called in several times, were some of the most staunch believers, who we got into heated conversations and debates about all of this. And I never had any interest in particularly changing that person's mind. My reason for having that conversation is because there are other people watching. There are people at different stages of belief and different positions in this broad spectrum and considering the arguments. And so I wanted to present them as best I could. And I have received email from some of those people who said, I used to call your show and give you a hard time 2 or 3 years ago, but I kept watching anyway, and now I'm an atheist. So
you never know.
You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, All right, well, I won't waste any more time. I know there's a lot of people on the line, so thanks a lot for taking my call.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Yeah, I don't think there's any real likelihood that, for example, I'm going to change my parents' mind or my grandparents' mind or most of my family members' mind.